Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Fatback 4 for this Sunday night. Liverpool 4, Southampton 0 from Anfield yesterday, as Liverpool rack up their second consecutive 4-0 league win at Anfield in the last 6 days. But we're definitely going to have a look at Liverpool 4, Southampton 0. All the goals, all the moments, all the shots, everything that went on. Jota is absolutely on fire. We're going to have a little talk about Jota because I have a stat here and a little graph for you that shows that he's just not arsed about playing football. I said it last week. Unless the ball's in the box, he does not give a bollocks. And we're going to show it to you tonight. Everton next in the league on Wednesday. We're going to have a little chat about that. And we're going to look around the league as well. And anything else that comes up in the chat as well. As you can see there, we have got Kev, we have got Davo, and we have got Keith with me this evening to go through everything. Now, before we move on, I've been inundated with messages on Twitter, Instagram, on this live chat, everything with regards to Grizz. Right, and is he with the Trippers? Is he not with the Trippers? He's no longer with the Trippers. Grizz isn't. Grizz wants to go off and try his own thing, with his own channel that he wants to put his energies into, and that's absolutely fine. There's no big deal here, that some people are trying to make out. He's gone off. He's doing his own thing. He's doing his own channel. He's putting his efforts into that. That's absolutely fine. Best of luck to him with it. We're still here doing our thing. If you like it, stick around, subscribe, like, share. You know the deal. So I hope anyone watching that or listening to the audio hears it, tells their friends, and we can move on. But listen, it's no big massive deal. It's just somebody trying to do something, and that's absolutely fine. But lads, we're just banging in goals. I'm really, really happy. I went down the shop and bought myself Guinness, because Liverpool won, and you know yourself, I buy Guinness regardless. But when Liverpool win, I'm definitely buying it. But lads, 4-0. Keith, I'm going to come to you first. Initial reactions, because I had a few people yesterday saying, you know, what about this one? What about that one? I was ultimately confident going into, ultra confident going into this yesterday.
Yeah, same here, Gav. You go into games with Southampton, and I know last season, it hasn't Hill crying and all because he done a number on Klopp. But Liverpool, I think we're all guilty of focusing on what everyone else is doing and nearly ignoring what we're doing. Liverpool are the machine at the moment, and we're starting to hit that bit of form. Look, West Ham aside, we had a stinker that day, but it's more of a rarity than anything else. So going into this game, I didn't think Southampton had anything to really worry us, except for the likes of James Ward-Prowse's set-piece delivery. That's always a worry in games, but I was looking at their team, and I just felt it was going to be a comfortable enough game that I thought we'd have got at least 3 in. We got 4, could have got more, but it's like we took our foot off the gas at the end of it. It's just another routine win for Jurgen's Red Machine.
It is, and Davo, you're famed for being the most pessimistic Liverpool fan that lives on the planet. You're actually the exact opposite of Andy Young. You're famed for sitting behind the sofa during the games with share packs of meanies and cadet coke. But surely Davo going into this one yesterday, you thought the form Southampton are in, they were beating away at Norwich. You know, Liverpool, a good win against Arsenal, a good win during the week in the Champions League. Players fresh, coming back. You had to be confident going into this.
Look, I know. Listen, we all have a bit of a wind up on the WhatsApp and stuff like that. But now, listen, of course I was confident, yeah. Of course I was. I just, listen, we're at the stage now where, like Keith said, worry about what our teams are doing. I think it's at the stage now where we know if we turn up, there's not many teams going to live with us, and if we don't, that's when we'll get into trouble, like what we did at West Ham, and we could have nicked the point there with Mane's chance of death. But no, listen, if we're at the stage now, we perform. There's only a couple of sides that will probably be able to live with us. So yeah, of course, was very confident.
Good. I'm glad. Kev, were you as confident as Davo was?
Yeah, I was once I saw the lineups. Myself, Chris, and Callum picked the lineups Friday night, and bar Origi, I thought Origi would get a start over Jota. We got pretty much the lot right, and we got the subs right. It was just an inch perfect performance all the way around, and Klopp got to do what he wanted to do. He got to rest who he wanted to rest, and he managed the minutes of everyone he wanted to bring on. It was as comfortable a 4-0 Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock as you're likely to see. So you can't complain. Nobody can complain of that.
No, you can't. And if we just have a quick look at the lineup, for anybody that didn't see it. I'm presuming that's nobody, but we'll throw it up there anyway. Alisson in goal, Trent, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago, that midfield that people have been crying out for a long time, and Mane, Jota, Salah. Keith, coming back to you, I was a bit surprised at Konate, I'm being honest with you. I thought he was shaky in the first half against Porto, but I think he improved a little bit. Me and Shawnee were discussing it the other day, but was that just a case of holding Matip for the derby? Because everything else, Henderson coming back, grand, Fabinho plays, Thiago plays, it's all fairly straightforward. Robertson comes back in for Tsimikas. But the Konate one, did that surprise you a little bit, or were you just like, no, he's Matip for the derby, it's all good?
Yeah, no, it didn't surprise me, Gav, to be honest. I feel that, when you buy a player like Konate and it's not at a gaping hole in your team, you have to use them and blend them in sparingly. We have a busy period now where we're playing 2 a week. We've got the derby on Wednesday. We do know Joe Matip's history with injuries. We know Virgil's coming back. I'm surprised we haven't seen more rotation among centre-backs, but look, it is what it is. We're not exactly doing too bad, and I wasn't surprised, certainly not in this game. Now, I know Southampton, they did have a few chances, you know what I mean? It was a comfortable win, but they did have a few chances. But Konate will only improve, I think, the more games he plays. What we don't want is a situation where he's not getting a game, and then worst case scenario in February, where we're losing players and we have to drop him in, and he's just not ready for the league, because we all know the Premier League. Even yesterday, Southampton are playing there. They've got a front three of Adam Armstrong, Shea Adams, and the fella, what's his name, Broha, is it off?
Broja
from Chelsea. A big fella, likes the mixer. Like the three of them, they're quite, a bit of everything really in there. Do you know what I mean? Like, so you're going to have different styles, and I think the more minutes you can give to a Konate, I think the better it is in the long run. Without saying, right, you're the first choice, you go and you make your mistakes on the job and you learn from it that way. They'll pick his game sparingly, and I think yesterday was a great one to put him in for, and I wouldn't be surprised to see more of it over the Christmas period, where we might just see Matip doing 1 a week.
Davo, we're going to get into the goals because Jota scores early. But I just want to touch on the chances Southampton have and the breaks they have, against us. And there's a couple of people in there, like Brian Murphy says, lads, it wasn't a perfect performance. We gave up big chances and got bailed out by Alisson. It was a sloppy first half despite the goals we eventually got. I agree with him, but when I look at this, Davo, I kind of look and I say to myself, this is definitely something we're doing. The only chances we're giving away is by, for me, the vast majority, Davo, is overcommitting in an attack, and it's not even overcommitting because we're just so used to those players being that high up the pitch. Is it concerning for you, or is it just one of those things where we're going to score shitloads of goals, we may give up some chances, that's how it goes?
Look, like a little bit about it. Listen, I played football, I played in goal when I played football, so I would obviously be kind of defensive, kind of minded when I'm looking at things rather than kind of creative like other players. But I just thought, particularly yesterday, like one of the early ones, Thiago gets caught out. Alisson bails us out, and then there's a later chance in the half. Trent gives a poxy throw in. I wouldn't have even blamed, like, Konate was shaky, but I didn't think it was on him. I thought it was a really poor throw in from Trent. Your man nicks in front of Thiago, and they should really punish us. Like, I think they overhit the pass. So like the two big ones for me, particularly in the first half, they didn't really do it in the second half. Particularly in the first half, where from kind of us switching off individual mistakes, and that's the only thing I'd really worry about. Kind of just cruising through games, knowing you're far superior to the opposition, and just letting your standard slip a little bit and getting punched. That's the only thing I'd worry about a little bit. COYSS,
St. Patrick's Athletic fan, he says, come on the fucking Saints. That's in relation to St. Patrick's Athletic winning the FAI Cup today at the Aviva Stadium versus Bohemians on penalties. So congratulations to you, and have a good night on it, and I hope you took tomorrow off. He backs it up here, and he just says that St. Pat's won the FAI Cup today. No, congratulations. I did watch some of it, and I watched the penalties, and fair play. So I want to give that a mention because he is a long time viewer.
And we had Liverpool representative as well.
You did. The Pat's goalkeeper's on loan there. Yaros is on loan there from Liverpool, so good day for him. Kev, you look at these chances, like Davo says he didn't do much in the second half, but we'll get on to the second half in detail in a bit, but just touching on their chances, we're 3-0 up, we're 2-0, 3-0 up, and they're getting breakaways and they're kind of getting at us a little bit. But again, there was one where Trent tries to flick one on the right wing and it doesn't work and they break away and they get a kind of an opening. But is it just like somebody said there in the chat, it's just a case of risk and reward, and that's just the way we're playing, other than just, being a little bit more cautious and not overloading them up front, because when we overload teams, they just don't know where to go.
See, for me, it was a case in the first half. Southampton went shit or burst, and they went 3v3 at the back, and just said to everyone else, just bomb on. I thought, take Thiago's goal out of his game, and he was bang average in the first half. He was very sloppy.
He loses one on the edge of the box as well.
Yeah, he was very sloppy in some of his decision making and some of his passing, while also being majestic with some of his other passing. He's still getting into a groove himself. He's not long back off of an injury. I think that's what his third starts. So he's going to take time to settle down. Some of his decision making was shocking, put us in an awful lot of trouble. But I couldn't get over how Southampton lined up, how Hasenhüttl thought. It was, look, fair play to him. You congratulate him on being brave and trying something different. But after 15 minutes, he should have been the one to revert to a back four straight away, because it wasn't working. I mean, you can't put Jota, Salah, and Mane 3v3 against any centre back, any back pairing anywhere.
But Kev, can I ask you a question? If he goes out and he plays 4-5-1, right? He plays a defensive back four and he puts 5 in midfield, and he says, right, okay, our 3 in midfield are just going to sit, and we're going to look for 2 wide men to support the front man, right? And we're not going to be adventurous. I think him and other teams think they've less of a chance of beating Liverpool, because if Liverpool pen you in, okay, and they pen you in properly, you're never getting out. Especially if you only have 1, maybe 2 options going forward. Whereas if he thinks he's 3 or 4 options going forward, he's willing to take, while Liverpool are taking a risk in what they're doing, he's willing to take a risk going the other way and saying, right, we might lose chances this end, but we'll get some more this end, and let's see what happens. Because if Southampton go out there yesterday and go, right, back 4, 3 sitting in midfield, a left winger, a right winger that are hard working, and a fella up front, I think they get demolished.
I think they probably lose, but I think it takes a lot longer. And by that, I mean, if you can stay in the game until you've got 20 minutes to go, you're giving yourself a chance of winning. You can lose a game against Liverpool in the first 15 minutes if you're stupid. If you can stay in the game until the 70th minute, you're giving yourself half a chance of picking something up at the end. It's a 95-minute game. You don't have to win it in the first 5 minutes, but you can certainly lose it. So I think it was very naive. Brave, but very naive of Southampton to go hell for leather right at the start. You can have your first 5 minutes where you can press. Our first goal came from a lucky counter. It came from our box where they had half a chance, and we broke and got our goal. But after the kickoff in the initial first few minutes, you have to settle into a shape, and Southampton didn't, and they paid the price for it very early. The game was over. The game was over as a contest at halftime. It was just a case of managing minutes after that. And you could tell that in the second half performance by the way we just eased off.
Yeah, we probably did ease off, and that's where probably some of the chances come from. But listen, that's the negative. Not even a negative, it's just...
Well, I think, Gav, sorry, I think the Brighton game as a whole was really encapsulated like the kind of yin and the yang for Liverpool. We're 2-0 up early, we're cruising.
And then we sat back.
Yeah, we're a little bit unlucky with the third being the handball and being rightly ruled out. But if that drops to Salah on the line and taps it in, it's a goal with the new rule and doesn't go straight in, then they get a bit of a worldie. Right, we'll give you Amanda credit that he meant it. And then on the flip side, we get a little bit, they're playing through our press, and we looked absolutely awful in that second half and probably could have lost the game. Yeah. So that was so I think teams like Southampton are looking at that, like what Kev was saying, listen, you can hang in there you can hang in there and try and like pray you're in the game at 70 minutes. I think a lot of these teams are looking at going, listen, we might go 2-0 down here, right? But these will give us chances. And look, that's why we have one of the best goalkeepers in the world, like Saturday showed. They deserved the goal. They didn't get one down because of him. So I think the Brighton game really encapsulated kind of where we are against particularly them mid to lesser sides this season.
It's an interesting one because Dan Bailey says 2+ goals in 17 consecutive games. This is the evolution of Klopp's side. We are looking to smother teams in the final tour, but at times it will break down. When Virgil is up to speed, he gives a thumbs up because he feels that Virgil's probably made for that sort of stuff. Yeah, come on and break on me because I'm all good. But I genuinely do. Like you touch on the Brighton one. For me, watching it in the ground, the Brighton one, we were brilliant for 15-20 minutes. Like we were brilliant, and then it was a case of, let them have it and let them see what they can do. And we kind of fell off and we couldn't get it back. We couldn't get it back because Brighton played very, very well, in fairness to them. But I think it is just a case, I think Dan Bailey is spot on with the evolution thing where, people always think Liverpool 4-3-3, try smother Salah, it's fucking impossible to, but try smother Mane, can you get in Firmino's face? Can you get onto Fabinho? Whatever it might be. Whereas we're giving teams way too many questions to answer. Way too many. And it will break down at times because you're so high up the pitch and you're so intense that you're snapping at people. You're not standing off and waiting to see. You're snapping in and they get a good touch on it. You can take 2 and 3 Liverpool players out of the game. That's just the nature of it. Just the way it is. But to be honest with you, I always say it. If Liverpool are intense in what they're doing, whether that's completely overloading you or sitting off and going, right, come on then. But if we're intense in doing that, nobody touches us. And I mean that. Nobody touches us. But I just wanted to get the Southampton stuff out of the way because I want to get on to Diogo Jota.
Diogo.
He might need to be called Diego if he keeps this up. But Keith, he doesn't care about football. He's not interested in I'm being very harsh here. He is very interested in football. He is very interested in working hard, getting involved, link-up play. You've seen it in goals recently against Arsenal. The link-up play he has with Mane and stuff for Salah's goal. But he's just a killer, as Shawnee would say, Keith. He's an absolute killer. Put him in the box and he's brilliant. That first goal is a proper striker's goal.
Yeah, and he Maul was trying to get on it as well, and he's not having a bar of that. Give me that. I think he's great. He's like the anti-Bobby. Bobby is everything about Bobby is the link up, in the phases of play. He's knitting here, there, and everywhere. And maybe certainly isn't as ruthless or as much of a serial killer as Jota is when he gets in there. But this fella, I know what you mean, Gav. He's only interested in scoring goals, but that doesn't mean he's just a Pippo Inzaghi type of bleeding striker that just arses around and gets lucky. This fella is just constantly on the move. He's a buzzsaw. He's always looking to get that little yard where he can just get anything. Now, whether that's on the ground or whether it's in the air, because he's actually excellent in the air as well. I just think he's so fucking good. I didn't know when we signed him what we were getting. I thought we were going to get a winger who, could come in and could do bits in the middle if you needed him, but predominantly coming out of wide areas. He just looks like a fucking centre forward now, like that. Suits us down to the ground. We were speaking before we came on air about like Timo Werner, and we were all gutted when we missed out on Timo Werner at the time, but we ended up getting Jota. And that, not digging out Timo Werner, we were actually saying that different players in different systems will work much differently than where they find themselves. But that's one of the biggest sliding doors moments we've had in fucking years, is missing out on Timo Werner to get in Diogo Jota, because everything about him is just made for this team. And I thought it'd be so hard to get anyone into that front three, because either you're looking at an elite player who will demand to be in there from the start and constantly be looking to play non-stop, or you get a young player in and you sort of drip them in and out. This fella has just come in. He's not been, looking to be the main man. He works as part of a unit, and we're just seeing the benefits of it. He's fucking brilliant, long may it last.
Well, he is brilliant, and somebody mentioned it here in the chat, but Diego Jota was playing a FIFA tournament this morning before the game. Didn't clock at the time in celebration of him sitting down playing the PlayStation. That's from Jack Halliday, all right? And I was trying to find a different tweet as well, because apparently, he had to leave. He said, I have to leave this tournament. I have to go and play a match. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I seen the message.
I seen a tweet. It was like a conversation.
It was a private message.
Yeah, a private message on PlayStation, and it was what? But that's the sort of player he is. He doesn't. Nothing
He owns
seems
his
to
own
affect him.
esports. He owns his own esport team, the same as Sergio Aguero.
Yeah,
Sergio
and
Aguero,
Sal Naguez owns
a
one
few of
as
them are
well.
mad into esports.
Yeah,
Jota's probably the best professional football player, stroke FIFA player in the world.
yeah, he's right up there
Without
as
a
one of
doubt.
the top ranked. Yeah,
He would play weekend league and get 30-0 regularly. I've watched him playing tournaments, and
He bet Trent, didn't he,
he
last
had
year?
to leave at the fourth round stage. He had to leave at the fourth round stage. He's ranked number 2 in the world on FIFA.
Yeah. He's
fucking
crazy good.
In hell.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, all these top pros are given their own FIFA Pro card as well, and it's a 99 rated card.
Yeah.
Now, they're not allowed to use it in tournaments, but at the same time, the guy is legit. He does plow money into esports as well, and he does stream regularly on Twitch. He's very, very good. So is Aguero, to be fair. Aguero's pretty good as well.
It's mad though, like, because when you think like these professional footballers, how they're drilled and how they're, you
think
hear
they
players
wanna
and
be
they're
away from
absolutely,
football.
they're absolutely intense on what they do on match day. Bang, 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 and he's going, I'm just playing FIFA. And if I get through this tournament before the match kicks off, I'm fucking brand new. And I love that sort of stuff. But Davo, just on him, because he gets the first goal. I was delighted with the Mane Robertson thing. Now, the Robertson is a great assist, and the way he celebrates is a big deal's been made of it, and I was delighted for that. But I was delighted to see that link up again, because them two are brilliant when they get going. They just know each other inside out, and it comes across the box. It's not the easiest finish in the world. He has to.
No, he's stretching a little bit. Yeah,
stretching and opening his foot to put it away. But it's an absolutely brilliant start, isn't it? And I want to show you just to show you an idea of Jota. That's a shot map in all competitions in 21-22. He's had 5 shots from outside the box, 1 on target, 4 off target, and the rest everything is in the box, all the goals. So he is one of those players that works hard for the team, Davo, but at the same time, he's just put me in front of goal and I'll score.
Playing the percentages, Gav. If you're in that box and you're taking shots in that box more, like obviously, like we've 95% of his strikes are in the box there. He's playing the percentages. That's where you get your goals. Like all them corners outside the box are brilliant, but that's your bread and butter in there. And he's look at the link up play between Mane, Robertson and him for the first goal was brilliant. It's great to see that. I think that's when we're at our best, and on the other side as well, when Henderson, Trent and Maul link up them triangles. I think that's when we really are at our best. You're dragging fellas all over the place. But yeah, listen, a great finish. And the thing about him is, I know Shawnee has mentioned in WhatsApp group, a bit Suarez about him. I would agree with that. But just the thing that comes to mind to me when I watch him is he's just direct. He makes defenders defend. He just said, look, I'm going at you. Now, listen, you might take the ball off me, fair enough, but I'm not turning back around and going backwards. Like, I'm heading for goal. As soon as I can, I'm heading the quickest route to goal. Direct, making just a fucking nightmare for defenders. One of them just won't stop. Brilliant.
And do you know what, Kev, like, I'll come to you. Before we go on to the second goal, because it's interesting, Davo's mentioned something there, and it plays a big part in the second goal, but I've seen something there in the chat, and I should really bring it up, and I can find that I will while you're answering me. But so many players, like the person in the chat says, Emma Kavanagh says, a lot of young players would have found the thoughts of breaking into that front three daunting. Jota has grabbed it by the scruff of the neck. That's a huge thing, Kev. Because, like you said, there would be players that would come in. He's had an okay time at Wolves. They really rated him, and then some Wolves fans were kind of going off him. Liverpool make the move. And it would have been easy for him to come in and go, them three are just fucking outrageous. I'll get me games here, and I'll get me games there, and I'll be getting sub-appearances. But he's just... How much to say from that he's just come in and went, I'm making claim on a spot here, and I'm going to make it as hard as I possibly can for anyone to take it away from me.
Yeah, I think the way he came in, you got to think as well, when he was at Wolves, he'd just broken into the Portuguese side. And when he signed for us, he got a regular spot playing for Portugal. So he'd have had the confidence from that. And the way that we play is, as opposed to kind of how Wolves set up with their wingers stroke, their three, the way Nuno had him playing, he did really well in a system that didn't really favour him, because they switched from 3-5-2 to 3-4-3, and the way they played didn't really suit him. But the way he hit the ground running, And once you do that, and you start to give any manager a decision to make, plus he had an ally in the coaching staff already fighting his corner in Pep Linders. It was Pep Linders that was fighting hard to get him. So once you have it was a combination of things that led to him A, signing, and B, kicking on the way he has. Plus his own personal, probably a need more than anything, that I am going to be the best. And with the way he started, and then he started getting close to records and pushing records, that brings its own confidence. And the injury last season came at the worst possible time because he was bang in form, going into a busy winter period. And when he came back, we were a shadow of the team that he left in this time 12 months ago, really.
Yeah.
So this time around, he's come back. He's probably mentally stronger for it, for the break, for the injury. He knows what it's like to be out of the side and to have to work his way back in. Plus, he knows now, 12 months on, how important he is to the club. And with January coming up and what could happen, we don't know what's going to happen now. But he knows that he's a vital cog in this wheel for a title challenge. And it's so important now that he stays fit and firing for the rest of the season.
MC says when he scored a hat-trick against Atalanta, I was like, yeah, we absolutely robbed Wolves blind. Just to go on to the second goal, Keith, because Davo mentioned there a second ago, those triangles, those moves, Trent wins a high up the pitch on the halfway line, gets to Salah, he comes inside, plays it to Henderson, gets it back, squares it. Jota is literally doing what Firmino does, just hangs there, beyond the keeper, waiting for that to fall, and it was a proper Firmino goal, I thought, when he gets it. But again, Liverpool win it, play, bang, and it's a goal, and it's a different goal to his first goal, even though he finishes from a similar position. But Liverpool just looked absolutely on it, and I think that probably showed the mix in midfield. The winning of it by Trent, but I think Henderson is brilliant for it. The vision to put Salah back in is brilliant. Yeah,
it's a great worked goal, and it's Liverpool, at their best. We touched on it with the first goal when they link up with Mane and Salah, or Mane and Robbo on the left hand side, and you said it as well about the right hand side with Trent, Hendo, and Salah. And we saw it all day, really. I thought Henderson was excellent. Certainly on that goal, I think they work the triangles, they get it in, they cut it back, and it's a tap in. But it's very clever. It is very Bobby-esque. That now, not always. Bobby's not always sort of in that 6-yard box, but this year he seems to have made it more of a part of his game. But it's just a sign, of a player that just wants to get goals, and he knows when Liverpool are cutting teams open like that, the delivery from the wide areas will always be good. 9 times out of 10. Do you know what I mean? You're not talking about whether it's Henderson, whether it's Trent, whether it's Robbo, whether it's whoever. They're not really slashing and trashing the ball across. It's usually measured. It's usually into an area that you can get goals in. And it looks like he just knows when that ball gets wide, he's onto it, he's alive, and he's saying, right, where do I need to be? He pulls away and he has a tap in from a few yards. It's a player that just he has hungry to get goals. And it's something that we've criticised Firmino for. This team, when they're on fire, creates so many chances, creates so many opportunities, and we were wasteful. We weren't taking them. Since he's come in, I don't know, one of the lads said it could have been Kev. He hit the ground running when he came in, and he just hasn't looked back. And that makes the difference for any sort of forward. So he came in there, and he's just looking to get on the end of everything. And he knows, if you're the striker, if you're a forward, you don't want to be having to work too hard for your goals. And he knows he doesn't have to work too hard for his goals. And that's shown on the sort of heat map of where the goals are coming from. It's all in around the box. It's from 1 yard to the sort of 18 yards out, and that's where he's getting all his goals from. He's not having to, his goals aren't, he's not running 5 or 6 players to get a shot off. He's usually getting on the end of things, and, he's going to get a field day in there. Look at the numbers he's done already, and we're just going to see him doing more. I thought he was a model for a hat-trick yesterday. But
he should have had a hat-trick.
Yeah. He should have. He was unlucky.
He should have. Robertson put on a play for him. And then he didn't score, I don't know. But the thing is, like, for me, when I look at it, when you look at like Salah is just like running out of words for Salah. You know what I mean? Like I come on here every Sunday looking forward to fucking talking about Liverpool, and then I nearly dread having to talk about Salah because I can't make up any more stuff about him. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm literally gonna have to start reading the Collins dictionary and finding more words for Mo Salah. Like it's getting stupid, and I'm a tick. You know what I mean? So that's not that's not my game. You know what I mean? Looking through dictionaries for fucking words describing Mo Salah, but then you look at Mane as well, and you know, I think for me with and even Firmino, Jota is just a fella that just shoots on fucking sight. There's no I'll turn you. There's no I'll drop his shoulder. He'll just bang it. Do you know what I mean? Now don't get me wrong. You seen the Arsenal goal where he drops the shoulder, like he needs to pick his own shoulder up. He drops it fucking that low. When he does Arsenal and that goalkeeper that makes every fucking save look like he's, you know, fucking Ray Clements. But it's just for me. It's just that it's a directness to goal. You know, Salah loves coming inside and he might go beat one, try beat another and put it in the top corner. Mane likes to twist and turn and get a shot away. Whereas Jota is just like, is there a chance to shoot? Fuck it. Bang. And he's shooting. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Now, those two goals on Saturday aren't the best example of that because one's a good first time finish, the other one's a tap in. But you can see him, he's just like, I'm getting into that area, and when I get there, I'm just hitting it. I'm not taking too many touches and stuff like that. And I'm not saying he's better than the two boys at finishing or Firmino or whatever like it. He probably is one of the better finishers out of the four, but he's just a different style of finisher. He's a different way of manoeuvring himself for goals, and his movement is huge because if you've good movement as a forward, ask any forward that plays, if you've good movement, the chances are you've only need one touch to score. If your movement is a little bit off, you might need a forced touch to set and hit, whereas he just seems to go bang, bang, bang. And look, I'm absolutely delighted, and I echo
the
what
only
Kev
thing, Gav, sorry if I jump in, none of them, the four of them, none of them are forwards, centre forwards. Do you know what I mean? Like and he looks like he's a centre forward. He didn't play there. He sort of played wide, or he played off a front man. He looks like an actual centre forward. Someone put in the chat earlier, he's very like Hernandez that was at United. He's saying a bit more about him than Javier Hernandez, but that's sort of being in the right place to get on the end of things. Whereas Salah, Mane, and Firmino, like none of them are like Firmino was an attacking midfielder, and Mane and Salah are about wingers. They get great numbers, but he just looks like an actual centre forward, and it's not what we bought. And it just shows that he knows what to do. He's a clever player, and he's getting in there and doing the business.
Red Steve said, just make up a word, Gav. These fellas would just pretend they knew what it meant anyway. You know us too well. You really do, Red Steve. Obviously, but earlier on, Red Steve...
He's on to us.
Earlier, Red Steve said, told an absolute and utter lie, which I have to go back to, where he said, be harsh, Gav, I'll back you up. The last fucker in this chat to back me up would be Red Steve. Let's be perfectly honest about it. Shawnee's in the chat. Shawnee is not well at the moment. He hasn't got the coronavirus. He's done loads of tests on himself. Someone reckons he's eating crayons, but Shawnee's rebutted that by saying only Crayola. And people have told him to drink loads of fluid, non-alcoholic. That's complete bullshit. A load of cans into it and you'll feel really grand in the morning.
That's actually a great comparison, Sean. There, if you look at that map of these goals, if you bring that back up again and you look at Sean's comments there, very like Raul.
Okay, you want to bring this up?
If you bring that up, they're all near post. They're all to one side. He doesn't come across to the right hand side. They're all at the left hand side. So he's either going near post when the ball's on the left for Robbo to tap in, or he's going far post for Trent to whip it. One of the two.
It's a good comparison. I want to go on to Thiago, because he scores an absolute worldie during the week, and it doesn't bounce. And anyone that tells me it doesn't bounce,
I don't think it bounced.
Absolute lie.
I thought it did.
It goes along, and it just goes.
It skims the dew off the grass.
It does not touch the ground. It goes down and then just rises. As I said on Twitter, he's managed to hit a ball that's 6 inches off the ground. He's managed to make it dip and rise before it goes in the net. And I'm all good with that.
My favourite goal I've seen in years.
It's so fucking good.
Goal I've seen in so long. I love a goal that's sort of unusual and something that's not. You know, any old shite bag can score a 30-yarder into the top corner, just depending on how they connect with it. It's up there for me with the Bergkamp against Newcastle one where he flicks it around Dabby's ass.
Randy's shoulder, yeah.
How the fuck did you do that? Do you know what I mean? Like if you have to think how did you do that, then it's not. But you take the player into it as well and say, right, we done it on fucking purpose. but how did he do it? And that to me,
It's just
horrendous.
it's just unbelievable technique. Luke Jackson, don't know who told you this. He says, like Gav with his one iron into the wind. I've never owned a one iron.
A butter knife. A one iron is a butter knife. Gav.
No, I've never owned a one iron. I'm currently sitting from 5 iron up because my irons have. I used to have a 4 iron which I loved, but I've changed clubs. I love when this golf stuff comes up. And but the 5 iron
Listen,
I have,
Gav,
the 5 iron I have is as strong as the 4 iron I used to have. So I'm actually hitting 5 iron into the wind. The trick, Luke, though, is to set it off your front foot, off your back foot. Set it off your back foot and swing easy. You'll keep it low and you get it as far as you need to get it.
Luke, there's a golden rule from a 3 iron down. Jesus Christ, couldn't hit them.
No.
So break them up. Fucking snap them over your knee and throw them in the bin.
Yeah, the only thing you should be using them for is fishing the ball out of the bleeding, out of the river that you just put it in. That's all they should be there for.
Thorns in the bushes when you hit it in there.
Exactly, but Kev says there like earlier that Thiago was a bit shaky first half, and I agree. He was a bit loose. I think he loses that one on the edge of the box, and a better side with probably more confidence. I think hurt us, the sort of way. But in fairness, Alisson was out like a light. But Davo, he gets that goal. I think the other one I think it's flying into the corner. Anyway, gets a deflection. But how big is it for him, Davo? Because we've had him, like he gets that injury last season against Everton. He comes back. I think he's brilliant towards the back end of last season. He picks up I think it's a thigh or calf injury earlier on in this season, and it's taken a while to get back. He scores against Porto. He scores there now. And then in between, you've had this, Xavi wants him back at Barca, and he's like, no, I've made the perfect move to Liverpool. I fucking love what I'm doing. And to say that about Liverpool and then go and score 2 games in a row, Davo, I think it's big for him, and I think it's big for everyone watching on as well.
Oh, absolutely, Gav. Listen, I thought he was like what was brought up. I didn't think he was great. I didn't think he started great at all. I didn't think he had a good first half. He contributed to them having a great chance, but that goal, I think you're right. The more replays I've seen of it, I think it's going in anyway. I think McCarthy is kind of late going, and I don't think he's going to get there. But that roll over, whatever he does with his foot, there's fellas in the chat. You fellas are more fucking cleverer than me to tell me what he done. Futsal style Brazilian football roll over. That's unfucking believable. It's just so good. But listen, the one thing I watched Match of the Day this morning after watching it, and it just kind of jumped out at me. His celebration, like he gives it the big one. His family are up in the stand already, but then he turns to the 3 boys that are on the bench and calls them over for the hook. And I said it earlier in our WhatsApp, he looks like the nicest bloke on earth. And for a fella, like, of that standard of football...
So you got laughed at the WhatsApp group for that, did you?
Yeah, I probably did, yeah. It was early this morning, nobody was up.
Just flash a message in and head off for the day.
I was up with the young one early. Yeah. And he just put a smile on my face. He looks like the nicest bloke alive, and coupled with that being one of the best midfielders in the world, it just would put a smile on your face. But I do think it's huge, Gav. Yeah, and listen to Instagram. Someone banged up on Twitter. He did an Instagram post after the game, or his missus took a picture of him, put it on hers with the young one up in the direct or up in whatever box they were up in the stand, probably like 2 hours after the game, and also looks like he's really, like, we've seen stuff of him walking around Liverpool, the city centre, taking in sides and stuff like that. So I definitely think that was like more a lifestyle change from a family change. Let's go and do something new. And I wouldn't say, even with the bad injuries, I don't think he's given it a second thought. I think he's 100% all in with us.
Yeah, he has a tweet there from yesterday saying, "This is Anfield, what a week," and it's a lovely picture of him with the main stand, all delighted after his goal. But like, that makes 3-0, and like Kev said earlier, after 2-0 it was probably over. After 3-0 it most definitely is. And Keith, like, just looking at the second half, we get onto the Van Dijk goal in a bit, but just for you, how he managed it then. He takes Thiago off after 59, I think, and he puts on Oxlade-Chamberlain. He takes off Jota and he puts on...
he takes off Hendo next.
Hendo, yeah, well, not in any particular order. But he takes Hendo off for Milner, and then he does...
Jota
for Origi, isn't it?
No, Minamino.
Minamino.
Taki, yeah.
Like, the way we managed to keep, the way we were able... And it's just... That's what we want to see. We want to see, like, we're just bringing 3 off and we're bringing 3 on. And don't get me wrong, Milner's great to see him back. Ox, could argue he deserves to start, but look, he's back on. He's getting another half an hour. Minamino, after scoring in the week, gets another whatever amount of minutes it is, and we're just quietly turning players over in a nice fashion where it's not. There's no bells and whistles about it, but it's something where you just go, you know what? It's nice to do this from 60 minutes on, and to see all these players available is just huge, Keith.
Yeah, it's look, I don't have many criticisms of Klopp, to be honest. I'd be fucking stupid to start criticising him. But the one little thing that maybe irked me a bit was his substitutions. He didn't really use the squad as much. We could be 4 or 5-0 up in a game, and you'd have an opportunity to throw a young lad in, let's say, to give him experience and to get him onto the pitch. And we didn't really do it much. And this year he seems to be changing that. We saw Tyler Morton coming on last week, and then we saw him using the squad a bit better, like to whip off Thiago. Obviously, we all know the reason. Derby is coming up.
Not only that, he had a knock. He did have a knock.
Yeah.
So, and like Paulie Walnut says, would you take Mo off? He was on a hat-trick. I think it was a case of Thiago, he didn't go near Porto. And we're just watching our players, aren't we, Keith?
Yeah, it's managing the squad, and it's something that I think, obviously Jurgen, he knows what happened last year. He was there, obviously, he knows. And I think he's just being a bit more cautious. Not cautious, that sound, I think...
He mentioned it after the game, actually, Keith.
Yeah.
Does he say that?
Yeah. No, he mentioned...
It was about Reece Williams, wasn't it?
It was more about the derby. A man asked him directly about the derby.
Oh, yeah, it
was more... He said, listen, I should like it, but I don't. Like, we'll go there trying to play football. We'll see what they want to do. It was an absolute very, very thinly veiled dig at Everton and over last year. So we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. But it's good to see players. As you said, Gav, Ox has been doing well. Some people don't like him. Some people do. He's played well recently, and to get more minutes into him, he's had horrific injuries. Not one injury, he's had 2 bad ones. He needs to get back in and feel integrated into the team. I think he's doing that, gradually. To get Minamino minutes as well, I think as good as... Look, we don't know what's going to happen with Afcon now at this stage, but you're going to have to rely on these players come January. Do you know what I mean? So you can't... The same way I said about Konate, you can't just drop these in and expect them to bleed and dig you out. So you need to integrate them. Minamino, I think he's a great little player. A bit harsh. He's not a great player, don't get me wrong. But the type of player that he is, he's industrious and he wants to work hard. I'm rooting for him to be a success. Now, he hasn't been yet, let's be honest. But he's the type of player, I think, that if we can get minutes into him, he could be a useful squad player to have. That we can take off a forward with 20 to go, put him on, see what he can do, and then start him in a game. Because if you don't do that, if we don't give Minamino and Origi minutes, and then the boys go off to the Afcon, and we know they're going to go deep into the Afcon as well if they go. They're not going to be getting knocked out in the groups and coming back early. We're going to have Origi, we're going to have Minamino, we're going to have Jota, and we're going to have Firmino. So we have to use them and get their confidence up. And I like the
South American break in January as well, Keith.
Yeah,
and an Asian break.
Yeah, and an Asian break. So listen, it's going to be.
Yeah, I don't know where. I didn't even know about the South American one.
The only thing that could mess all of this up is COVID.
Yeah,
I genuinely could mess everything up because, and I hate to be like a doom merchant and stuff like that, but if another variant arrives around the world, as they're suggesting coming out of Africa, we're going back to this time last year, and we're going back to lockdown. I'm telling you, we are. Because health services won't be able to deal with it, and that's just the way it is. And you'll see red list countries. I was only talking to a guy today who's in South Africa, who's ready to come to. He has tickets organised for Leicester away or Leicester at home. I'm not too sure. Either the League Cup at home or the away game around Christmas, and his country's back on the red list for the UK.
There's 6 African countries back on the red list.
And it's only going to get worse than that.
Yeah,
it's not going to turn around and go, oh, it's 4 on Monday.
Israel has closed all their airspace.
Yeah, and the thing is, when that Mongo fucking who's running the UK comes out and says, right, everyone has to wear masks on public transport now and in shops, and if you arrive in the UK, you have to isolate for 2 days. When he starts getting serious over, it's fucking serious, because they've literally just went, don't worry
Hayes
about
ahead
it.
in the sand, mate.
And done that. But without getting into too much of a COVID thing, I think it could be under threat. It really could.
Yeah.
Lads, I have to go and get more cans, right? So, Keith, I'm going to put you in charge, and I want you to run through Virgil van Dijk's goal, Virgil van Dijk's impact, and Virgil van Dijk going back to Goodison Park.
Okay, excellent. Yeah,
No
good
problem.
stuff.
Back
So,
about 15
Virgil
minutes. I might
van
have a
Dijk,
smoke.
yeah.
Where the fuck are you going for your cans?
Yeah, he found down the shop for them. Is he
He's
going
going
to the
he's going
garage?
down the shop.
But
Where's
no,
the
lads,
shop? Fucking nice.
it must be. Send the young one down. Send the young one down with a little note. Please give these cans. They're
God.
from me dad.
Remember them days?
Yeah, I remember. I do remember those days.
Getting sent down the shop for the nagging of whiskey or a bottle of
20
Powers or
smokes.
something for some lady now and in the flats.
No,
She write you a note, hand it in, you'll know who it's
Worst
for.
one is when you're sent down to the shops for your ma. Will you give that to the lady behind the counter and tell her to give me the messages?
Yeah.
And you know exactly what you're getting back in the brown bag, and you're just off you go.
Back. Little 20 pence piece for your troubles.
Yeah.
Anyway, Virgil van Dijk. Davo will come to you on this. Van Dijk gets his goal. What you make of it? It's a pretty easy one for a player like him to be dropping in the box like that, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it was a strange one, wasn't it? Kind of all around from them. Just one of them that they're 3-0 down. They didn't, it's a game. They wanted the final whistle. I know it was early enough we get the foul, but they wanted the final whistle. The ball comes to the box. It was one of them. They thought everyone else thought someone else would deal with it. He gets his foot in it. The keeper, listen, he could probably do a little bit better, but it's one of them. He's not expecting Van Dijk to volley it either. He thinks one of his fellas is getting something on it. But I have to say, like, with his injury, even before that, with the money we paid from, we were being told to be fucking overpaid, and everyone laughing and joking at us. I actually don't think there's a Liverpool player that scores that brings a bigger smile to my face than when Van Dijk actually scores, because he's the daddy. He's like, and there has been, listen, he's been out for 9 months with a knee injury. Like, he's not back at his best yet. Will he get to the very peak he was at? Maybe not. Maybe he'll be 98% of that. It doesn't matter though. He's still the fucking main man. And like, when he scores, like, not a bigger smile goes on my face, because he's unbelievable. I was watching them here the game and they were warming up, and my missus was on the couch beside me and she just gives it the, oh Jesus, look at the legs on Van Dijk there. You know what I mean? He's ticking all the boxes, Keith. He's ticking all the boxes.
Everyone there, every demographic are all in the Virgil van Dijk fan club. But it's amazing. Like, he's such an alpha that, Liverpool have had players that have been that sort of alpha personality. Van Dijk is like, he's a quiet one, but everything he does, like the leadership that he brings, the confidence that he brings, I don't think I've seen a player like that for Liverpool. I know people say, oh, Steven Gerrard. Like, Steven Gerrard used to grab games by the scruff of the neck, but he'd let all the others know they were shy and they weren't really up for it. You know what I mean? At every chance he got. Van Dijk is just a quiet personality that plays, even in 80%, 70% of Van Dijk will change the way he plays, and he'll still be a good leader, and he'll still read the game, and he'll still exude confidence, and the players around him will all get better. I just think he's absolutely amazing, but he's getting there game by game, isn't he, Kev? Like, you can see the gradual improvements coming, and it could take a long time before he gets back to anywhere near peak. And if this isn't peak, we look forward to it. And that's the thing that we have really to look at the second half of the season.
Gary Breen was doing the co-commentary and for us on Premier Sports, and one of the things he said during the match was to fully get over that kind of injury, play-wise, mentality-wise, can take up to 12 months.
Yeah.
Now, in the time that Virgil's been at the club, I'd say you could count on one hand, maybe two, the amount of times he's gone to ground. It's a very rare thing that you'll see Virgil slide into a tackle. Even now, he doesn't need to, because he doesn't read the game. He reads the game that well that his body positioning generally. Now, there's been a couple of lapses here and there for goals that we've been caught out on this season, but in general, his ability to read the game is up there with some of the best I've ever seen. Now, when he retires from football, he probably won't get the flowers that he deserves, because he won't have won a World Cup, or he won't have won a European championship. His international career won't mirror that of a Maldini. or a Baresi or Costa Curta or those type of players that have gone before him as centre half that have been absolute fucking legends of the game.
He'll be Paul McGrath.
He's every bit as He's every bit as good as any of those centre halves that I've mentioned, and arguably the best centre half I've ever seen in my lifetime. I've never seen anyone so complete as a centre half. You've always had centre halves who were quick, or who were good in the air, or who had an ability to read the ball, read the game, or had a passing range. He's got everything. There is nothing in his game that he doesn't have.
He's the best centre half I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I mean that.
Yeah.
And that's not Liverpool bias.
I think Jay
Whelan says there, Hansen-esque, jockey never went around. And Hansen's only, whenever you talk about Liverpool centre halves, from me, there's been really, really good ones. Carragher, Hyypiä in recent times have been excellent.
Yeah. Lauro was excellent.
Lawrenson was outstanding.
Brilliant centre half. He gets overlooked a lot.
But Virgil van Dijk,
people look at Lauro
in the air, along the ground, how strong he is, how quick he is, the decisions he makes, how good he is on the ball, how much of a threat he is. And someone said earlier, you should score more. I agree. But the thing is, when Virgil van Dijk goes up into a box, they usually try block him off. Southampton were a bit naive, yes, and have one man on him, and it's just a shift of his body one way and then the other, and he gets a chance. He's an unbelievable centre back.
But I think one thing that gets overlooked a little bit, and it was kind of probably going back maybe a year to 18 months ago, like he's Holland captain, or he gets made Dutch captain, and you have all this cohort Liverpool fans that don't think Hendo should be in the team, never mind captain. And it's all give the fucking captaincy to Van Dijk and blah, blah. You never heard a peep out of him. And any time you heard a peep out of him about it was telling you how good a leader Henderson was and how he rose in behind him. And do you know what I mean? And it wasn't the case that sometimes you get, when he went back to Holland to play internationals, you do an interview with a Dutch paper and it gets translated. Oh, yeah, I think I should be captain because I'm captain of Holland. Not a fucking peep out of him. All round in the one direction. Him getting in behind Henderson going, no, I'm behind Henderson. He's the fucking main man. I'm just
everything with him is team.
Everything with him is team. Exactly, Kev. And like that's for the day and age we're living in with football players. Like it's
a rare thing.
It's a very rare thing. You're right.
So someone as good as him doesn't have the ego. When you see the egos have landed at PSG, and I watched PSG today. And yeah, they won against Saint-Etienne, and Saint-Etienne were down to 10 men for the best part of that game, and they scraped a 2-1 win at the end. I think it finished
3-1.
3-1, was it?
Yeah. Neymar got a bad one, actually.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you look at the egos in that side, and then you look at what Virgil does for us. It's night and day. I mean, the fact that he signed his contract, and he's going to give us the best years of his career.
He's made for Liverpool because whenever you think of Liverpool going back in not so recent times, but when you go back to, for me, the late 80s, early 90s, you never knew what was going on at Liverpool. Everyone just done stuff. Even transfers were just announced, and it wasn't like it is now. And that's just because the way the world is, so much information out there and so many people knowing different things. Although when it comes to Liverpool are fairly watertight with regards to information. But when you look at him, he's just made for them for the simple reason, not only on the pitch because he's fabulous, but I think it's a huge point what you say there about Will Holland. You never see him going away doing an interview or saying this or saying that. He just goes and plays for Holland and comes back, sort of way. And didn't kick up a fuss, when he couldn't go to, was it the Euros he couldn't go to?
Yeah, it was the Euros. I think he wanted to.
He wanted to, but it was told to him, look, this is
you're
what's
not
happening.
Make
he was
it.
He done it. And the thing is, like, he's just so classy in what he does. Doesn't open his mouth, goes about his business, and people are mentioning Lawrence and there, Ron Yates, Hansen and stuff like that. I'm not old enough for Ron Yates.
I'm
not old enough, but I just think
there
is a stack of them. But I just think, just watching him, it's not only how good he is, the difference he makes to this team in the last 4 years.
Forwards as well. Attackers are bleeding terrified of him.
Yeah. There was one stage yesterday where a Southampton player broke. He was nearly through on goal, and it was him and Van Dijk, and there was a Southampton player breaking. And Van Dijk just went, I'm just watching this fella in the middle of the pitch, and I'm going to stand until you make the decision. Do you want to pass to him, or do you want to go at me?
I think it was Redmond.
Maybe in Redmond, or maybe the
Redmond came on, and he wanted to pass it to Armstrong.
Yeah, and
he tried to whip it across.
And Van Dijk, he's running in this inside left channel for Southampton, and Van Dijk just went, well, I'm going to block him off, and now I'm going to make you make a decision. And then he made the decision, and as soon as he made it, Van Dijk just snuffed him out. End of story.
He's stopping off the passing lane, and he's making your man take him on. Knowing you take me on, I'm going to take the ball off you. But like the mask, like I think one of the early international breaks in the year, the mask kind of slipped from the club boys, as in like not in a bad way or anything like that. I think the Dutch keeper hung Van Dijk with a ball, and someone fucking clattered into his ankle. And it looked a real bad because my brother texted me going, Van Dijk's after fucking being blessed there.
I watched that.
Out to drive by the keeper.
Yeah,
and I think Van Dijk came out after it going, Klopp was on the phone to him, fucking 400 text messages when he got onto the bus going, are you all right? Like, what do you need to do? Do you need to ring the physio? Blah, blah, blah. Like a pepper and mouth, are you sure you're all right? And he was like, yeah, look, boss, I'm grand. So I think, it's not as if we didn't know that, but I just think, you know, the way managers come out and play things cool and whatnot and all that, I think, we all know, and Klopp knows how vital he is for us.
It's just absolutely massive. And, you know, we see succession planning about forwards and midfields and all, but you have to start looking at Van Dijk. He's 30 years of age now. For me, the way he plays, he could go on and play another 5-6 years handy. Because, how many times, like Kev says, how many times he go to ground? How many times does he use his pace? How many times does he actually have to use his pace to get where he needs to be? And it's very few, because his positioning is so good. His decision making is so good.
You look at Thiago Silva today, 37. You know, there is absolutely nothing in Virgil's game to suggest that he can't go that long. As long as we get our planning right around when to rest him and when to play him.
I've made Red Steve a moderator on the channel, so that could be the end of things. In the next
good while it lasted.
It was good while it lasted. We had a good run. But look,
I ain't going back to moderating for a while. Yeah.
It is what it is. We've given Red Steve the license to
trill. The house, Steve.
So he's just going to ban everybody. Stefan Mack I can't find in the banned list. I don't know what's going on there, but I'll have another look. But I went through it, can't find him. He's in there as Thiago's hair now at the minute. He says he has 8 different accounts that follows this channel, which is fucking mental. But look, it's a 4-0 win. It's absolutely brilliant. Just want to touch on one player before we go on to man of the match, and it's Andy Robertson, because it seems to me Andy Robertson isn't allowed to have a couple of bad games, and then people start telling you that, you know, Tsimikas has to play and fucking Tsimikas, and then Robertson's coming back in, and all of a sudden it's Tsimikas. Why is Tsimikas should be going fucking mad? And I'm kind of going, is this not the depth we speak about, where we should be able to change players and relax? But I have to say, Davo, I'll come to you. He was like a man possessed. I seen someone yesterday saying, I think that fucker had about 12 cans of Iron Brew before he went on the pitch, because he was making a point yesterday, and I loved it. He didn't make a point where he was going in stupid, giving away fouls. He was basically showing everyone, look, I'm here. I'm fucking grand. I'm back on it. And if Tsimikas wants to scrap with me every day of the week, great stuff. And it's great for us as well.
Yeah, look, I think I went back to the Porto game. I thought when he came on, he was like a man possessed that night, because people were talking about talking up Tsimikas. I thought he was, like we mentioned the triangles. That triangle works 2 minutes in, we got 1-0 up. But I thought overall, Robbo was superb. But I don't get all the like kind of putting Robbo down and building Tsimikas up and stuff like that. Listen, it's all right to have a very good backup, but Robbo's still number one. Yeah. I think Klopp was asked in a press conference, and he was like, "Yeah, is the real was like Robbo's brilliant." Was basically on paraphrasing, obviously, and like so, I thought he was superb. He's playing. I wouldn't mind. He's kind of like an easy target. I think he gets a bit at Scotland as well, because obviously himself and Tierney. I only think Tierney's a very good player, but he's very injury prone. Mm-hmm. They get a bit at Scotland, like obviously two left folds for all intents and purposes.
But he plays Tierney. He plays Tierney as left centre back.
No, I think he plays Tierney left centre back, or he kind of alternates and puts Robbo out on the left. But he gets it a bit. You'll hear it a bit up there saying different podcasts. Oh, listen, if we had to go to 4, I'd probably play Tierney over Robbo. And I like Tierney. I think Tierney's a very good player.
Very good player.
I mean, like Robbo has been at the highest level, like for about 2-3, definitely 3 seasons for Liverpool. The highest level. Of course, he's going to have a couple of dips, but listen, look, right, kind of. I think the weekend and Porto coming on kind of showed. Listen, a bit of right him off at Jack Perdle, because he's up for the scrap, and that's great for Tsimikas as well, because it's going to bring his level up. So, like, everyone's a winner there in my eyes, anyway.
Yeah, and it's good. Like Sam Tandy said Robbo just looked sharper and quicker all of a sudden. Funny what a little rest can do. And there was other people saying there that was great man management. Dennis Kelly. I'll put it up there for people to see. He says great man management from Klopp, and it is because he just gives Tsimikas a go, takes him out, puts Robertson in, and then you never know. Robertson might play the derby, Tsimikas might start away at Wolves. But it's not about starting. This is the big thing. It's not about who starts and it's not about who finishes. It's about what Liverpool do in these games. And you might have Robertson and you might say, you know what, Robertson's struggling a bit, but it's probably not down to him. He's probably not getting enough cover. I'll fuck Tsimikas on with him. And we'll cover up that left-hand side, especially against the likes of Wolves who might play a damn Traore. Do you know that sort of way? And then there's other games where you go, Robertson's been away. He's played 3 international games because he's captain. He's expected to play all these games. I'm going to put Tsimikas in when we come back. This is what it's all about. And do you know what the thing is, right? Because they're both so good, are playing so good, and in so good a form, don't argue over who's the best and who should start. Just be happy that whoever's fucking starting is really good.
Be happy we've fucking two of them, Gav.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Laura Duffy says in the chat there, people are forgetting like Robbo hasn't had no time off. Like Tsimikas came in and played no football through COVID, a couple of injuries. So Robbo's playing all year last year. Scotland the whole time, captain every game, and then into this season. So I mean, look, like you said, why is everyone arguing? Just be fucking happy if two fucking quality fucking left fools.
This is what I'm saying. Like I loved it, even going into midfield, Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago. I'm fucking delighted with that midfield the weekend. But if you said to me, Oxstart, I'm kind of going great because you know what? He's playing well. He's a rhythm player. He gets another 60 and Thiago comes on for him. Who gives a shit who plays the 60 and who plays the 30? Yeah. Liverpool have won a game. We've all got through it. We're all fit. We're all buzzing. And we're all battering each other trying to get into the team. What more do you want? You shouldn't want no more. And it's always a squad game. And like when I see lineups, I kind of look at them in a case of, Tsimikas, better delivery of a ball. Might need a better delivery because this team have three really good centre-backs, so they need to be pinpoint. Robbo's a bit more penetrating for me with the runs he makes to the byline and whips balls in. Maybe they're not good along the ground. Stupid stuff like that I think of. But at the end of the day, when it comes to left-back, I'm not even really paying attention to who's named at left-back anymore because I'm going, they're both fucking deadly. Happy days. Right, play the game and we see how we get on. I think Red Steve is being made club captain of the channel. In the last couple of minutes, people are nervously congratulating him here because they're afraid he's going to fucking. Let me see, and he has
great power comes great responsibility.
Do you know at the end of an interview where they say, "Have you anything to ask yourself?" Steve has asked, "Do I keep the spanner if I stop being nice to Gav?" No, listen. If you're not nice to me, it usually means we're hitting normality, and that's all good when you're not nice to me, Red Steve. I haven't a fucking notion who you are, but I enjoy the fact that me and you don't get on without ever meeting in person ever. 406 people watching this, 131 likes. Hit the like button now. I hear it on your way out. Man of the match, Kev, you go first.
Honourable mention for Alisson Becker,
because
he made some outstanding staves, a sexy bastard.
Yeah, he's fucking massive. He is.
He's a beautiful, beautiful man. And do you know what?
Only him or the Lawson fella at home, me, to be honest with you.
Paddy.
Any of the Lawsons are all great.
In a Stella Maris jacket.
I thought Alisson was absolutely outstanding yesterday. The saves that he made were all really good saves. In fairness for them, Alan Armstrong I thought was very good for what he did, for what he was allowed to do. He's a decent player, came up from the Championship. I watched him a bit with Blackburn when Harvey was on loan, and the link-up that he had with Harvey Elliott was really, really good. And when someone comes into the Premier League, you hope that they do well. And I think he's going to do all right this season. Man of the match for me, Fabinho.
Okay. McCavan from this parish, he says Jota man of the match for him. Keith, are you agreeing with Jota? Are you going with Fabinho? Are you going with Alisson? Who are you going with?
I'm going with Robbo. I thought Robbo was great. I love Robbo. Something that Davo was touching on there about, the amount of games that you had to play and the pressure. We also forget that last season we didn't have a back four for most of it. We were putting Annie Blade and Tom, Dick and Harry in there, and he had to not only play every game, but he had to be the leader every game as well, and the mental strain that
Great
put
show.
on.
It's a great show, Keith.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not just physical; it's mental as well. And he had to be. He couldn't be rested. And Klopp said that about Tsimikas. You know, he couldn't put him in because we just were putting anyone off the street in a centre back. So that added to it, and he was allowed to have a bit of a dip. And let's be honest, his dip wasn't fucking too major. Do you know what I mean? But I thought he was great. I think Fabinho's another great show. Alisson's a great show. Jota, they were all very good, the three of them. But I just think Robbo had a few questions to answer, and I think he done it emphatically enough, you know, for the type of player he is. Too many people were talking absolute coddle about Andy Robertson and about Tsimikas. I'm a huge fan of Tsimikas. I think he's brilliant. But like the lad said, it's great to have the option of both. I wish we had it on the right-hand side. Do you know, and Nico Williams is getting that bit more confident as he's going on, and maybe he will develop into a viable option. But we have two excellent left-backs there, and I think Tsimikas' good performances are just going to drive Robbo back to being the best. Because let's be honest, I think he's the best left-back in the world when he's on form, so he just needs to get back to that level. But I thought he answered a few critics yesterday.
Is just talking on right backs, Livramento is a player, by the way.
Yeah, he's a good player.
At Southampton, he's a good player. And I'm constantly looking at right backs going,
could we get him?
Perfect for us just to walk off.
But there's a bit of talk. There's a bit of talk that Nico might be pushing for a move. Whether there's any truth to that or any legs to that, I don't know. But I think there's going to come a point when Nico's going to want to play, and we're going to have to facilitate a move for him. You can't keep players at a club from youth level all the way through if the pathway for them is blocked, because it doesn't send the right signal to the other youth players who are coming through that, you know, you'll get so far and then the road is blocked for you. So I think we're going to have it probably won't happen until the summer, but it's the right back question is something we're definitely going to have to address.
The right back question is the one thing for me, Kev, that I'm constantly watching right backs, constantly watching them going, could he do it? Like your man, Lamptey at Brighton is just outrageous.
Especially Lamptey's a right winger.
I know, but in the team that we play, in the way we play, he could absolutely play at right back.
Yeah. I like your man Kasha Villa. What's his name? He's a Polish.
He's a
Polish international.
Well, listen, come here now. I'm gone probably more than last season than this season because they weren't in a great run of form before Gerrard came in, but I thought he did a very good season last year. And one to kind of watch is that the Scottish Unfiltered Rangers. He doesn't play too much because of Tavernier. He doesn't play too much because Tavernier is playing his captain.
Well, that's been my show for ages.
Because apparently Everton inquired about him in the summer and got told now. Probably looking at maybe a Coleman replacement.
Yeah,
maybe.
Well, we're gonna go around the league in a minute. Just have a couple of look at the bits. So you're going with Robbo. Kev, you went with Fabinho. Davo, did you give me someone?
No, I will give you surprise, Alisson Becker. I think
one for the Union.
Goalkeeper. I'm a fully paid up member. I agree with the boys, and there's people in the chat that are probably throwing in names as well that are all great shouts because nobody really played poorly. Really, Konate was a bit iffy at times. Thiago the same, but he got a goal. But no, I just think I mentioned the Brighton game kind of being a bit of a yin and a yang for us, shows what we can be kind of on both ends of the scale. But I thought Alisson made some big saves yesterday at big times to kind of ensure that it didn't end up with even a half of an inkling of a Brighton. I thought he was superb, quick off his line early on the Thiago one. 1-on-1 then from that poor throw in makes a big save, 1v1, gets down from an Armstrong one then. I think there's basically three big saves in the first half and then kind of one himself and Konate kind of sort out in the second half. So and
his distribution was brilliant as well. There was a few long. Bear in mind the weather yesterday. The wind was right up, and he tried that long direct kick a couple of times for quick counter attacks, and they nearly paid off. Yeah, I think it's something that's overlooked a lot in his game.
A couple of things there. A couple of people mentioned that Aston Villa and Steven Gerrard looking at Joe Gomez and a loan deal in January. I'd be very surprised if that went through. I'm being honest with you. I think when Gomez comes back, he will start to get the same amount of games as Konate will. And Gomez had a tough time.
We've an awful lot of football between now and kind of
Exactly, I think
not even December and Christmas. I think we've an awful lot of football between now and the end of January. That's kind of when it tends to settle down. If the FA Cup in January as well.
I wouldn't be letting anyone go of any substance, sort of way. Man of the match for me, I think Becker's a great show. Robertson's a great show. Fabinho's a great show. But I have to give it to Jota. I have to, because I'll tell you why. Like, Mo Salah was brilliant yesterday. Right, again, he was brilliant. The fear that just comes across teams when he gets the ball, and he was turning players inside out. And we've seen games where Jota or Salah probably isn't at his best, gets two, and you go, he's man of the match. He's just made the difference. Jota was a huge difference there yesterday. He gets the first early, he gets the second, and nearly puts it to bed. Sort of way. And it's one of those where I think you just have to give him. He scored the goals. He's the man of the match for me. So I'm going to go with Jota. Before we go around the league, Keith, did you watch Everton earlier?
No.
Kev, did you watch Everton earlier?
I did, and it was the first time that I've watched them in a long time.
Horrendous.
And how bad they are. I mean, the core just...
I felt sorry for Damari Gray, who come on with 20 minutes to go today, and put in 3 unbelievable balls into the box. And the Everton players were standing on the edge of the box looking at it. It was horrendous, but they look so bad, Kev.
I put a tweet out. I called them out agricultural. If they were playing Junior B hurling, then that's what you would expect. That's what Everton looked like, Junior B hurling. And if you're
explain that for the non-hurling people,
for the non-culty
hurling fraternity.
Would it be right? Would it be right in saying, Kev, you might be knocking on the door at 11:15 for an 11 o'clock match to get your man out of bed for Junior B hurling? That'd be something like that.
Your man up the road,
yeah.
Bribing them with 20 Benton and Hedges.
It's Sunday League football on a muddy pitch, and the one player I feel for in this is Seamus Coleman, because he's a good fella, and it's not something you don't always hear about on a Liverpool podcast. Seamus Coleman is a solid pro who's been around a long, long time, and he should have moved. He deserved to play for a better club.
He should have went to United when he got the chance.
He should have gone to United. He should have gone to Arsenal when he had the chance. But Everton I thought they had Decore back. You had Allen in midfield. I thought,
played okay.
They've got they have a bit of a...
He's a good player.
Yeah, they have a platform to play off. But my God, they were bad. I mean, Digne was advertising to be Tom Daly's fucking sparring partner for the next Olympics.
Digne went down about I don't know how many times. They decided that Alan was Xavi Alonso, so they just kept giving him the ball, and he was literally hitting these balls, not even diagonal, just straight down the middle of Brentford, and Brentford heading away. None of them found where they were meant to go.
No, I mean, Rondon was decent when he was
put himself
Newcastle,
about, but not more.
He's just so past it. They're so bad. It's, I mean, in fairness,
plays for them, does he? Jeez. Oh, he was still.
Townsend gave away the penalty.
Whose nephew is it? JJ Okocha's nephew. What's his
Alex Iwobi.
40 million.
So bad they named him
40 million yo-yos for them.
Yeah,
they
was so bad.
They're an atrocious side.
Like watching them today, and
lads, don't keep Kane them or playing them on Wednesday.
No, I know, but
it is what it is.
It is exactly. It is what it is. And when you watch them today, you look at them and you say to yourself, they're easy enough to get at.
As long as we play the occasion.
16.
As long as we don't play the occasion.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, Brentford found it fairly easy to get at them. Right? In midfield, there was no creativity. It was literally Alan trying to hit these balls where I was going, why do you keep doing that? Right? And up front then, they had Gordon out on one side, who was just coming inside and doing the same thing all the time. They'd Rondon that wasn't getting into positions to score. Damari Gray was good when he come on. He dropped the shoulder, went past
He's a snip.
Broke through lines and got balls in the box. But they haven't got anyone in there to do it for them. And, looking forward to Wednesday, if I'm Liverpool, I'm literally going out and I'm penning them in. And I'm saying to myself, because they can't pass it out. Right, and they haven't got the runners to get beyond you if you're playing them on the break. But I thought they were poor. United get a draw at Chelsea today. How they done it, I don't know. I watched it and I just couldn't for the life of me believe that they did. But I was kind of happy they did, you know, because it dents Chelsea and we're within 2 points of them now as well. Arsenal beat Newcastle, which was fairly expected. City beat West Ham, although West Ham got a goal back late. Spurs was called off from Burnley because there was snow. But other than that, in the Premier League, there wasn't really much, was there, Keith? Was
Stevie gets another win.
Stevie gets a big win. Yeah, he gets a win with who scores from McGinn?
McGinn scores a nice goal.
Target and McGinn get a goal. Yeah, and Palace pull one back. They have a big test coming up now during the week, don't they? Do they play City at home midweek?
Yeah.
So they have a big test coming up. But look, at the end of the day, I don't feel Liverpool have hit top level. I don't feel Liverpool have had all their tools at their disposal through this season. But we sit 2 points off the top, a point off City, 2 off Chelsea, and it's going to be an absolute humdinger of a bleeding title race. I just think so. I think there's enough there in all those teams. They're starting to pull a gap now. I think it's 5 points back to West Ham then, and I think the gap will start to show as the weeks go on, especially through the period of Christmas.
I think the bottom, before we finish up, I think the bottom will be a tasty one as well. Like you've got Newcastle, Norwich and Burnley are all in the single digits still, but they're all 6, 9 and 9. You've Leeds are falling like a stone. Watford, Southampton, Diev, Villa, Brentford, Palace and Leicester. Like there's only 6 points between Leeds in 17th and Leicester in 10th. Do you know what I mean? I think there's a lot of teams can get dragged down into that. And the fact that Norwich, who we wouldn't have gave a chance to if fucking Daniel Farke was still there, they brought in Dean Smith and they've got a couple of positive results since then. Newcastle, we think, will spend money in January on who we don't know what their model. But
the thing with
Newcastle, looks at what they're looking to do is Ousmane Dembele and that type of player.
See, that's a disaster.
That's a disaster waiting to happen.
I hope so.
The appointment of that manager for me tells me that they're literally going, if we stay up, great. If we don't, Eddie Howe is going to manage us in the Championship. But the problem they have is that I'd nearly see them going down and going, right, we're going to sign whoever we thought we could in the Premier League and go to them and go, it's 1 year in the Championship, we'll give you a big bonus for going up and we'll soften the blow for not being in the in the Premier League for one season. And that's the way they go, because if they go down, there's loads of players there that have a release clause. I would say a relegation release clause. Now, it might work in the club's favour that these have a release clause and they want out grant because we don't want them anyway, right? Yeah. That might help them. But at the other side of things, they have to then buy a squad, more or less, to take them up in the Championship, get them in the Premier League, and then dissolve that squad and start again, right? Whereas they might go, look, let's take the fucking hit and take our medicine for a year with these players, offer them all a huge bonus to get up, and they'll take it. They'll sacrifice a year in the Championship to go up in the Premier League, and they're much more on a steady footing coming back up. Because unless they sign fucking 6 or 8 players from me in January, they're gone. Because they just have nothing about them.
0 wins.
I thought Coutinho was kind of like him would be a model for Newcastle.
But he's fucked.
But I'm more talking
about for Barcelona.
It's a big name.
The big name. Barcelona haven't got a pot to piss in. He's on fucking 200 grand a week probably over there. More. Maybe they'll want to get him off the wage bill. Newcastle will happily take up that fucking wage. And it'd be all about kind of selling it to him. I kind of thought that. I would have thought maybe he would say fuck off, but I would have thought.
But Davo
would probably be maybe the first player to go for, maybe.
But would it be a case of these players looking and going, I know there's interest in Newcastle, but I kind of have to look on the 4th of January where they are, because if they go between now and the 4th of January, which is probably another 6 league games, would we say? In and around that, and they haven't won another one. They
haven't won one yet.
Yeah, but say they draw 3 and lose 3. They'll end up, I think they're only on about 7 points at the minute, are they?
They're on 6.
6. So they'll be on 9 points after what would be 17, 18 games. Right? That's a halfway mark in around that. Right? Just short of the halfway mark. So if you double that, right, they're looking at 18, 20 points. And if you're not throwing another 50% on top of that, it's another 30 points. They're never staying up. It'll have to be a most miraculous run in the second half of 18 games that you need to see. And I think they're going to have to nearly make a decision in February or March and go, right, we're not staying up. But I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to put a squad together for the Championship that's actually a Premier League squad, and we're going to take the hit financially.
I actually think they've probably enough to stay up going forward, going up the pitch. I just think they probably now Dubravka's a decent goalkeeper. It's just when he's been injured, Darlow has dropped in, and
Yeah.
They
he's
look
fucking,
very soft in midfield and at the
yeah,
back, though, Davo.
he's dog shit. Yeah, I agree with you. Like John Joe Shelby shouldn't be anywhere near.
Yeah,
middle
Eddie
midfield.
Howe said that he's the linchpin for the side.
Like,
Yeah, but you
well,
need fucking
then,
Roger
listen,
Ramjet running around. You need about
Exactly.
4 of them running around after him.
He's probably the most fucking, like, what's the word? Yeah,
He's got a great pass on
luxury.
him, but that's
yeah, but luxury. I would say he's one of the stupidest footballers going.
Yeah.
Like in-game
get you,
intelligence going. He's just he
Brain
doesn't
farts
have
all
it. Yeah, brain farts all over the place, pinging balls when he needs to be keeping the ball, giving it away. It's more the fact that I think Sam Maximan has something about him. I think Callum Wilson's a very good centre forward for the level that Newcastle are at. I don't think Newcastle could go out and sign a better centre forward than Callum Wilson. I'll put it that way at the minute where they are.
Yeah.
It's
Or what
going
they
back.
need.
But they need,
Or what they
they
need.
they need 4 players high up the
They
pitch.
need-
They're on their
They need
level
a
all the
centre-back
time.
here.
And
They
the
need a
6
centre-back
behind them
here.
being absolutely solid.
Need
But they don't have it.
They need 2 centre backs. They're talking
Yeah,
about
they need 2
Tarkovsky.
centre-backs.
I think Carragher kind of name check Tarkovsky. He's probably one they could get for stupid money in January.
Yeah.
He'll help them. But like you were mentioning about release clauses and all now, Gav. Like if I was signing for Newcastle in January, I'll say no problem. I'll come in. I'll take the $100,000 a week if you're Tarkovsky.
But if I go and walk
$120,000
over
a week.
nothing.
No, but if you go down, I want a clause in my contract that I can go for 15 million or 20 million or 25 million.
Yeah,
So I'm not playing the championship for the year. That's the problem they're going to have.
Well, we'll see as midweek goes on and then onto the weekend, and then we're properly into December, and we're starting to look towards the festive period, and it's busy for them, and it'll be busy for us on the channel as
Can
well.
I actually just bring up something? Actually, we actually glossed over it in the match. We never even thought about it.
Right, go on.
That fella Bednarek should have been sent off for that tackle. It's because
It was a bad
it gets
one.
glossed over because we won 4-0. And it didn't really, and maybe it's because it was Liverpool, or maybe it was because of Southampton. If it was a Liverpool player putting in a Southampton player, didn't happen, it'd be all over the shop for clicks and everything like that. I thought it was a shocking tackle. I don't know
It
what
was
you
a
thought.
disgrace tackle. It was shocking. I was going to bring it up. I was going to mention it earlier on because it happened so early. He gets away with it, I think, and VAR look at it. And the same thing, we had the same discussion in the West Ham game, and we were on this show, and Shawnee was saying he put it down to the fact that the Creswell one happened so early in the game that he was never going to send them off for that. But how VAR look at this, and you see some of the challenges that they do pull back on and give red cards when they're overturning yellows. Like, they're dangerous and reckless. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a dangerous.
It shouldn't matter how early it is in the game. I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah, right.
with that whatsoever. But it should
They're
have been a red.
They're helped a lot as well by the fact that Mane didn't play for it. He didn't play it up.
Yeah.
Did he not roll around and jump
Well, he
around
did.
with the
Listen,
sand?
he did roll
But
about
there was
700 times.
Which is unlike our lads.
He just got up and got on with it.
Yeah.
And they didn't force a decision.
Sometimes when you roll around that much, though, referees start to think
It
you're
goes
overdoing
against
it.
But no one surrounded the ref. You know, you didn't have Henderson in the
you're
ref
right,
chairs.
Kev. It's been. I think you've said it on here before. You're right. We don't
We're not
have that in
nasty
us.
enough for
No, we hadn't. We should have been over him going, look, he's in a bundle
Check
there.
that.
That's a red card, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Dragging the ref over to the monitor. Look at it.
Just picking them up and dragging them off
Yeah.
by the scruff.
Look at the telly.
Right, I'm putting Davo in charge for the last bit. Before I have to go out and get another can, because I keep running out of them. But Davo, I'm putting you in charge. Neville v or Carragher v Keane. Who won and why did he win? Go for it.
Yeah, look, I just listened. I had to go back and watch it. I was tuned into the FAI Cup final. I had to go back and watch it when Garbrain told us about it. But I don't know what you two thought. I actually thought Keane was spouting absolute nonsense. It was absolute nonsense. Bringing in Ronaldo to win an FA Cup or a League Cup and £500,000 a week, that makes absolutely no sense at all. I don't know what you thought. What did you two think?
I agree. I think when you bring in, when they brought in Ronaldo at the time, you know, if you're finishing second in the league and you bring in Rafael Varane, Jadon Sancho and Cristiano Ronaldo, if that's your summer business on a second place finish, you have to be aiming to win that league or the Champions League. And I don't give a shit what they say. Now, Roy Keane last week was digging out these players because they weren't playing for his mate Ole, his ex-teammate. And now it's another ex-teammate, it's Ronaldo, and it's not his fault. Cristiano Ronaldo will always score goals, right? So we had this discussion on WhatsApp when they signed him, Davo. You know, everyone was saying he'll do this, he'll do that. he doesn't make teams better anymore. It's all about Cristiano will get his numbers. You look at Juventus when he went in there. People talk about Messi going to PSG. It's a farmers' league. Serie A was a farmers' league when Ronaldo went in there. Juve won 5 leagues in a row or something like that. Gradually, the team got worse. And you look at the state of them now, Juventus, because they weren't able to build a good team when Ronaldo was there, because everything, it's just the nature of Cristiano Ronaldo. He'll feed wherever he is, but the team will suffer. And I think Manchester United have suffered. And for Keane to be going and saying, oh, he's only there for the cup to lift the spirits, like, you know, I think Carragher sort of talking.
Carragher had him on toast.
But I think Keane's the fact that Keane has flip-flopped so much and is now defending FA Cups, like that's a madness from him.
Well, in fairness, if we said at the start of the season, right, lads, we're going to win an FA Cup and we'll do all right in the rest of the competitions that we're in, we'd all be scratching our heads thinking, well, this is shit.
It's a massive backtrack.
You know?
No, but look, Kev, I've said this actually for years. Like, fair enough, you can argue Leicester and Brendan Rodgers, and I personally, I don't think. Yeah, it's great for Leicester. It's great for their fans. Yeah. And listen, if we're in an FA Cup final in May, we'll all hope we win. If we make a League Cup final in February, we'll all hope we win. That's all happy days. But my point on it is that you had Arsenal there. Arsenal won 3 in 4 years, and the fans hounded Wenger out, and he was finishing fourth every year. And playing championship, they hounded him out. Louis van Gaal won an FA Cup at United. He was sacked about 25 minutes later when he was climbing onto the bus.
He was only when you handed him his medal and his P45 at the same time.
That United side
for the bigger sides, it's a trophy that does not matter. It's a great day out for the fans. We all want our team to win if we're in the final. But in the grand scheme of things, unfortunately,
it's an excuse, is what it is.
Last thing you don't want it to cost you.
It does not matter.
Let me tell you, do you know something? When I seen that conversation today, I just couldn't believe what was coming out of Keane. Because I respect him massively when he talks about football, because the one thing he's not there to do is impress people. He's genuinely not. And I could be wrong on that, but for me, when I look at him, he's not there to impress people. He's there to tell you what he fucking thinks. If you don't like it, fuck off. And that's Roy Keane's attitude. But the thing is, and I'm not pointing at Roy Keane when I say this, when United finished second last season, they were told it was a false position because of what had gone on at Liverpool, in particular, right? And it was all about, Sancho's coming in and he's this, and Varane is coming in, and in fairness, Varane is being huge for them, right? I don't rate him, but I think he's being big for them. And Ronaldo's going to spearhead United to a title challenge, and we'll win this and we'll win that. And now it's starting to backtrack, because they get a point there today, and they know they shouldn't have got a point there today. They know that. They faced 20-something shots, so many on target, so many passes, corners, wherever it might be. They got lucky with Jorginho making a bollocks of it, right? But for Roy Keane to sit in that studio, right, and he's been talking about levels at Manchester United when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was in charge, and these players were just not bothering their arse. To turn around now and say they're a cup team and an FA Cup, and Ronaldo's coming in to win an FA Cup, that is utter bullshit. Ronaldo is the most supreme professional you've probably ever seen, with the way he carries himself. Now, he's had some off the field issues, which I'm not going into, but the way he's kept himself to that level, and you know, the physical shape he's in at 36 years of age, he's not turning up at Manchester United to go, lads, I'm leaving Juventus and I'm coming here because I think if I can win you an FA Cup, I think it'll really help the club in future. Would you fucking stop? Ronaldo's turning up there thinking, I'm going to be the main man that's going to shoot United to a title, and my legacy at United is at this level now, and it's going to be at that level when I'm finished. There's no way they're a fucking they're a cup side. I think Keane lost the way with himself today. Roy Keane, the point Jamie Carragher was trying to make was, if United are trying to implement a different system where they're going to sit more defensive and they're going to actually press, which I don't think they did. I think they just defended. Maybe Ronaldo was not made for that, because he doesn't run around, he doesn't press, he doesn't challenge, he doesn't chase. And that's all the Carragher was saying. Keane lost the run of himself and started going on about how good he is, but at the same time he's this and this, but he's only turning to win an FA Cup. I thought it was absolutely
listen, Gav, I only caught like the very end of the game. Like I said, I was watching the FA Cup final. I only caught the very end of the game. Ronaldo had come on Rudiger misses an absolute sitter in the last kick of the game, and Ronaldo's at fault for him because he doesn't track Pulisic. He leaves him go. He switches off totally. You know, he gets after him. He didn't just throw the hands up in the air. But he wasn't looking where he was. And then when he seen him, he gave a half-arsed fucking run to get back. Ball is chipped to the back post. Rudiger misses a fucking sitter. And that's down to Ronaldo. Yeah. Like myself and Keith would listen to different podcasts and stuff like that and watch it. Like I listened to the Totally Football Show, James Richardson, blah blah blah.
Only after the worst though.
Only after the Fatback 4 when I listened to that on a Monday morning. But like James Horncastle is the Italian correspondent on that, and he said, listen, he's going to come in and score goals. He says, absolutely. Cristiano Ronaldo himself will score goals. He says, but when Juve were playing with him, when they didn't have the ball, they were playing with 10 men. And Juve's goal tally went down season on season when he was there. He was scoring, but the team weren't. And he's been pretty like, and I remember the pod because the other maybe like English journalists were kind of going, no, listen, I think it's going to work and fucking blah blah blah. He's been proved right so far anyway. It's like playing with 10 men when you play him, and I have no issue. He'll score goals, he'll score bags of goals. He's basically got them through the Champions League group on his own. But I mean, when you only have to look at what PSG are trying to deal with them front three, and when they've 7 other lads trying to do all the doggies. You need balance. You need balance, and
there's too much pressure on the others in that Man United squad, and they're not up to it. You know, if you have a midfield with Fred, McTominay, and Matic today, and they're having to put in loads of yards because the front fella isn't working. We say about Liverpool all the time. You know, Firmino doesn't get a lot of goals, but the press starts from him, and for defenders to get through front line, they have to work their balls off to even get to the midfield. Whereas Manchester United are not putting that pressure on. Because Ronaldo isn't doing it. Now, he's never going to do it, so you can't blame him on that. But that means that the opposition team are straight away, they're into the midfield, and United are all over the place. The players they had and the way they were playing under Solskjaer, to go and then put Ronaldo into that, just ripped up everything he was trying to do. Because when they were good, they were getting wins on the counter-attack, and they were devastating on the break.
But the thing is,
now they're not.
But the thing is, it's not about Ronaldo on the counter-attack. If I put Cristiano Ronaldo into Liverpool side, right? I know he wants to hang around the box between the lines of the 18-yard box side to side, right? And I want to be able to. He would be brilliant at Liverpool, and I'll tell you why. Because Liverpool will pin you in, they will pass around you, and they put the ball in the fucking box, and you will score, right? Or they'll interplay and they get you in the box with a forced touch and a goal, right? If Liverpool come out and said, we're playing Cristiano Ronaldo up front with Salah and Mane each side of him, and we're going to play on the counter, he won't work. He won't work. Simply is, there's too much running goes on. Too much running. He needs to be in a side that dominates for the vast majority of the game. And Manchester United are so far off dominating the ball, the football, for so much of the game that's where it doesn't work. Now,
I think there's probably 20 games a season against the bottom half sides. They'll bank on 60 points against the bottom half sides that he will do okay in. And
you've seen him against Liverpool, you've seen him against United, against City, and it was just, there was no point in being there. But then again, Rangnick will come in.
Rangnick might play him.
Well, he might play him and he'll say, right lads, we're all pushing 15 yards up the pitch, we're making this pitch really small, we're going to press, we're going to win it back, and then we're going to go for a madness. And that's what he might do. But we'll see as the weeks goes on. But for me, Carragher had Keane all over the fucking place today, and I don't think it was so much down to Carragher's argument. I think it was the fact of what Keane was saying himself. He buried himself.
Listen. He quite early in the argument he came out and basically said, which was right. He just goes, "Listen, United signed him because they didn't want him to go to City."
Yeah.
And for a club,
the call for 3 days was he was going to City.
Well, for a club that got burned with Alexis Sanchez for the very same thing and broke their wage structure on Alexis Sanchez to do the very same thing 3 seasons later or whatever, 3 or 4 seasons later, is absolutely fucking ludicrous.
But Cav Oldham says here, imagine if CR7 had gone to City, they'd be brilliant with him because they dominate the ball and they make fucking shitloads of chances.
They can carry a passenger.
But not even that. The way they play, they suck you into positions. They don't overly press you. They will press you, but they don't overly press you like Liverpool would. And they just play into positions, then they win it, and then they have the quality to go and do it. He'd eat the fucking league alive.
They don't play with a gap between their midfield and their attack the way Manchester United are having to play. There's fucking acres of space between him and the support players. If he's at Man City or at Liverpool or at Chelsea even doing that, there's going to be players all around him, whereas the others in the United squad just probably aren't aren't good enough at the moment, you know, and maybe they're being found out. Whereas some of them, like Greenwood, you know, maybe they should have developed him. Who knows? But
He's
I
a
suppose you
cracking
can't
player,
turn
but-
up the opportunity to sign
Brilliant
Ronaldo.
player. Brilliant
Yeah.
player.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with Ronaldo there at 36, and he's going to be there this season and next season, the likes of Greenwood might have to make a decision on his own future. Martial will most definitely have to make a decision on his own future. Sancho's kind of got 2 goals in 2 games now, so he's on the up. Even Rashford is looking going, what's going on? Because Fernandes is a first choice there. But it's an interesting one, but we'll watch it as the weeks go on. I'm not turning this into a Manchester United podcast.
No, it'll be interesting to see how he plays out, because the blueprint that he's done in Germany, he's very good at building sides when he's had no money to spend, or a project or a plan to spend to. He's never been given free reign with a pretty much unlimited checkbook.
But Kev, the thing is for me is, if he comes in and they stick to their word and he's an interim manager, right? And while they appoint another one, he should be doing what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was brought in to do in the first place, right? Look at the squad, bring the squad on, do as best you can between now and the end of the season, and come back and report on every single player in that team and give it to Ralph Rangnick or give it to whoever that Solskjaer was meant to give it to him. And what did he do? He said, fuck it, he knows everything, let's give it to him.
That's the thing. Apparently, he's the one who's going to be appointing the next manager, and the next manager is going to report to him. They might call it a consultant all they like. It's a director of football with a consultant's title. Because
and the reason for that title is to diminish his responsibility and his pull at the club for financial reasons. Let's be honest about it, because it's that's where I do actually sympathise with United fans, because the Glazers are playing this exactly as they want to play. We better go, because Davo's up in 3 hours and he goes out early for work. He doesn't rob catalytic converters, and he's not a bin man. So just to knock that on the head before we get going. But
a couple of professionals.
But the rest of the week, what day is today? Monday, tomorrow. Check out the Man On Football Show. I'm on tomorrow with Paul Nolan, and we're going to be talking about biggest misses you've ever seen in football. Right, Ronnie Rosenthal sticks to mind against Villa away, but I titled it 45 minutes of tangents, because it starts off with deadly misses and then it ends up with fucking some team in Somalia scored 85 own goals. That's how that show goes on a Monday night. 10 o'clock, that'll be on at 9. 10 o'clock you will have the LFC Daytrippers, and you will have the forum. Might be a little bit different tomorrow night actually, if the plans I've heard come true. So if rumours have to be believed, and that's not from the Echo, but it could be a little bit different tomorrow night. Tuesday night is a preview of Liverpool away at Everton. Wednesday, I will be doing something after the show on Wednesday. I want to give a big shout out to the lads at the Red Sea podcast who've done our post-match shows for the last couple of months. They're bringing that onto their own channel now. Go and subscribe to them. They're 2 great lads, and they're trying their absolute best to do what they're doing. We've just changed a few things around here, so I'm going to take that on Wednesday night. I might bring a guest along with me. I'll just do it on my own. But Wednesday night will be a match reaction to Everton v Liverpool. Thursday, I think we have a night off, but we will be on the Man On Football Show. We're another cracking one there. And Friday is Sports Unplugged. Kev will be involved, Chris will be involved, and whoever they can round up and get in there on Friday. Chris had a brilliant chat with Megan Campbell from the Liverpool women's football team. That's on our channel at the moment as well. Please like.
Do you know about her granddad?
Yeah, he was in the Dubliners. Yeah,
he was in the Dubliners. Yeah, I didn't know that.
There you go. So go and watch that, and she'll explain. She will explain all there. But as I said, like, subscribe, share. The Man On Football Show is for fans of all teams all over the world. So if you have any mates that support fucking St. Pat's who won a cup.
In fairness, boys, you've been killing it. It's been quality. So
we've had a great time with it. And the idea is on a Monday night is just to get the chat involved, get ideas, have a good bit of crack. Thursday is a bit more research and stuff like that. The lad, Shawnee and Keith in particular, go really deep into the subject that we've looked at, and we try to keep it light. We have a laugh, but we give you information as well, and we all learn as well on a Thursday night. So you're looking at that Monday, the Man On Football Show at 9, Thursday at 10. And everything else at 10 o'clock across the week from the LFC Daytrippers. Red Steve, he's still Red, you don't have to be so nice to us. We've let you be a moderator. You don't have to fucking do this stuff anymore. He says, cracking show tonight. I'd like to thank Gav, Kev, Davo and Keith for joining us tonight. Remember to hit the like,
Steve.
subscribe and share.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely milk of this, isn't he?
Lovely chap.
And Emma Kavanagh says football in the world has been excellent. It's not called Football in the World. Phil Casey keeps telling everyone it is. It's not. It's called Man on Football
I think
Show.
we're going to have to change it to Football in the World.
I might change the Monday show to Football in the World. How does that sound? Yeah. We put it down as a playlist called Football in the World because you're wrecking me fucking head, to be perfectly honest with you. You're all pricks.
Phil Casey, wreck your head. I don't believe that.
No, well, I don't know which Phil it is because there is, of course, 7 of them. But look, it's been a cracking show. There's been a shitload of people watching tonight. There's loads of likes there. On your way out, hit the like button on your way out as well. Sienna update, she's doing great. We're waiting on another update in the next couple of days. And as I said before, and I'll say it again, likes, subscriptions, all that views is great. But genuinely, the stuff we do for charity is the biggest thing we're doing. And we have got something new coming from Wednesday onwards. If you check out at Pierce Cult on Twitter, they are doing a charity calendar for the week, for the month of December. We are going to contribute, and it's all for a cancer charity as well. They've asked us to help, and we've said, gosh, we've said yes. We fucking say yes to everything. All right, that is it. Davo, thanks a million. Nothing else before we leave?
No, all good. Loving the Man on Football show, so keep them coming. I'm going to bed now.
You nearly said football. You nearly said football in the world, didn't
I'm going to check how the Green Bay Packers are getting on for me bet, and then I'm off.
Do you want to know how they're getting on?
Oh, they're 10 points up, I think, Keith, are they?
Yeah, third quarter, 3 left.
All right, good stuff.
That'll do.
Keith, anything else before we go?
No, nothing else. Do you know what? But quickly before we go,
nothing else.
The Thiago goal, right? Amazing against Porto the other night. But if anyone hasn't seen it, get on the little clip with the George Michael music.
It's quality.
Amazing. Amazing. Careless Whisper. How can you make Careless Whisper any better? Put it on the Thiago league.
I thought it was impossible until you put it over that goal, Keith.
There you go. Unbelievable.
Olivier says, great show as always, lads. Red Steve says, big up Sienna. Tom Boland wants to make Red Steve the FIFA president. Red Steve is insistent that we don't give in to the chat. They're taking liberties. It's all happening. Laura Duffy wants to call it Phil Casey's Football in the World. I sincerely couldn't do that. We'd all be on a sedative within 2 to 3 minutes of it starting. So we can't do that. Kev, anything else before we go?
Nah, you're all good, man.
Good
all
stuff.
Good.
All right. That has been an absolute cracker. Thanks for joining us. That's been the Fatback 4 with the LFC Daytrippers. What the fuck we're called anymore. Go on. Over now.